Today's talk of the day. Today's the day, Mitzvah Hashem, we're going to start Boina. But we have to finish up Hashem's call. But the Maisa, I'll tell you the secret. I'll tell you the secret that the paper actually has Boina on it already. So now it really might happen today. And look, it's 3 sides, and this is Boina. The 4th side is what is Boina. So it could happen. I think today's the day. I really think it's going to happen. But Lamaisa, let's finish up here with Hashem's Kol. And let's see. First of all, the definition of Hashem's Kol. So we keep on seeing that the definition of Hashem's Kol is that if you have something that seems to make a noise in one room, and we'll see where that comes from, but in one room, and someone's going to be chayshid you, listen, it's the type of thing that it must be that he must have turned it on. Like let's say it's for example, a grinding mill. It must be that he turned on the grinding mill right now, because that's the normal way. The normal mahalach of a grinding mill is that you turn it on now. So everybody that's going to hear a grinding mill, it's going to right away cause him to think it must be that he started turning on the grinding mill now. That's the case of the Gemara. And from there, the Poskim learn out that anything that has a noise, that the norm of that noise is for somebody to be mafil, to turn on that thing now, whether it's a grinding mill or any of the things we're going to talk about. So there's going to be a marasayin. It seems to be this marasayin is very extreme, and that we don't, and that the viewer doesn't melamed schus. He doesn't daven l'kaf schus. His first reaction is he hears a noise, and the noise on Shabbos generates this av shemilsa. And the Poskim have many names for this. Sometimes they call it av shemilsa, but more so sometimes they call it zilzal Shabbos. When you hear a noise and the noise generates, it sounds like, I'm just explaining a question that Rabbi Lieberman asked yesterday. It just sounds like from the Poskim that this thing bothered Chazal more. It sounds like, what's the reason why it bothered Chazal more? Because it sounds like it's true they'll have an answer what's going on. They're going to hear a grinding mill. What the Maisa do you think is going to happen? They're going to hear somebody grinding on Shabbos, and it's this loud noise, and everyone knows that grinding in Tchina is also on Shabbos. So what do you think is going to happen? He's going to go to his friend at the mikveh. He's going to tell him, Anshels, the Gehert, that's the barrel at the Reis gain from the Weg. He's grinding on Shabbos and everything. Was meinster? Don't you know that today they have all these new technology things, and he said it before Shabbos and everything. So Basayif, he's going to get an answer. It sounds like Chazal, it wasn't like a maris ayin of the nature of what we're used to. That answers up some of the shayla that the Olam's asking. It sounds like it's the norm is that this thing existed, and it doesn't say anywhere in any of the Poskim if it's a shchiach thing. The only thing you find in the Poskim is if everybody, the way they do it, is always before Shabbos. Like that's already, it doesn't even generate any question. That's the difference. In other words, by the grandfather clock, the case of the Shulchan Aruch and Shinam and Ches and Siv Gimel, there's a noise that everyone knows. It's not the pshat that he hears a noise and he says, what? And he says, it's not, he answers. It's right away. He hears the noise of a clock and he doesn't even think twice, because the noise of a clock generates a hergish that this was something that was done before Shabbos. It doesn't generate a hergish of what? That's what Chazal, and you see it from the Lashon of the Poskim. They all say this Lashon here of Av Shemilsa, Zilzal. The Kimat don't even use the Lashon Marasayin over here. Av Shemilsa and Zilzal. This answers up a lot of questions in the Sugya. That's why I hope I don't like to start the share with something that I mean, everything's important, but this really answers up a lot of shaylas. It sounds like it's not a regular Marasayin. It sounds like if you go through the Poskim, you seem to see this klal, that it's a Zilzal, that someone's going to hear this noise on Shabbos and he's going to say, what's this? What's going on here? And then, then he's going to say, okay, I chap that it must be he started it before Shabbos. He's going to realize it's possible to start before Shabbos, and some people do start it before Shabbos. But it has to be, the only way it's mutter is if your first reaction is this is something that's done before Shabbos, the nikudah, the end. And that answers up a lot of shaylas. We'll see now how that answers. So therefore, that's a big chumrah. What I just said, that's what the Poskim are saying over here. Therefore, if you hear a noise, it creates a zilzal. I guess it makes it, that's where it comes from, with your mother and your father. They always said this ruach of Shabbos and the zilzal of Shabbos. It comes from here. It's like something that you don't do on Shabbos, something that has this noise and dust, and it's like a certain surah and a choldik and whatever, et cetera, et cetera. Now, this item is hold of this. The Svardim hold of Av Shemilsa. A lot of the examples, I kept talking about this. So first of all, I saw in the Kaf HaChaim that the Svardim hold of this. The Kaf HaChaim. He holds that the Svardim hold of this. And the Maisa, I realized afterward, the Maisa, the Svardim, maybe they have to hold of this. Rav Avadia says not like this. So I'll tell you like this. It says in the Beis Yosef, he brings down this halach of Hashmas Kol. He brings this halacha of Shmas Kol, all the cases we're going to talk about, the dryer and the this and the that. You're allowed to have them going. And he brings down, you should know one thing. You should know, says the Beis Yosef, if I hold that you don't have to be machmer on this halacha. He says, but if there's a place that has a minig of Hashmas Koil, so then for Shteitzach you have to go after the minig. So does anybody know what the minig of the Svardim is to the old of Hashmas Koil? Right? Does anyone know? So I didn't know. So what am I supposed to do? So I this morning, after davening, I asked every Sephardi person as he was walking out of shul. Right? They were walking by Boker Tov Harav. So everyone that was stopped, it was like a real, racism. I stopped every Sephardi only. Right? I said, no, tagidli. אתה משתמש במכונת כביסה לפני שבת וזה יפיל, it goes into Shabbos. Right? One of them said, Has v'halila, that means chas v'shalom. Right? And then one of them said to me, ze asur. I said, what asur is it? What isser is it? What's the isser? Right? He said to me, ze asur, ze chilul Shabbat. That's what it is. I said, then why is it chilul Shabbos? Because, davar ze baruch ze chilul Shabbos. עכשיו, הוא יעשה את זה, בסוף הוא ישמע לרדיו בשבס. So I said to him, what's wrong with listening to the radio on Shabbos? Ma baya lishma the radio b'Shabbos. That's what he said. That's what he said to me. So it came now from the Sfardim, at least in Ramat Shlomo. Right? So the minig of Sfardim in Ramat Shlomo, what? Who daven in my shul. But the minig of Sfardim in Ramat Shlomo is that they hold of a Shmaz Koil. So you have to find out what's going on. I don't know what's going on. You'll take by Vagan. I took Ramat Shlomo. We have to find out what's going on. It seems to me that Achenu Bnei Sfardim have to be machmer because Beis Yosef said that if the Sfardim have a minig to be machmer, so then that's it. And they're machmer that in the place where there's a minig. It seems to me they actually took this on. They might not know why. I don't know why, but he said it's Chilul Shabbos, and I liked it. He's right. He said Mechalelat Shabbos. What did Moshe Feinstein tell us? He told us when you're making Shabbos leicht in other people's eyes, you're not called the Mechalel Basar B'Chalav. You're not called the Mechalel Tefillin. You're not called the Mechalel Tar. It says Mechalel Shabbos. When you make Shabbos leicht in other people's eyes, so he's right. He was Mechalel to Moshe Feinstein. Okay, that's number one. What? But it became the minig. I don't care about right things. You know me. I don't care about what's right. Right? That's, you know me. I go out and know what's the minig. It seems to be this is the minig of the Sephardi people. So therefore, that's it. You now have the same halacha. What about the Ashkenazim? What about the Ashkenazim? Are we machmer in this halacha? So then this is interesting. So I saw a few things. First of all, I saw that Rav Shmuel Kamenetsky in his sefer, they bring down from him, I don't think he wrote it, I think it's his shtiklach. They bring down that he said, like the same idea, the way we said that it's, we said like him, that the pshat is that it's mutter, be'etzim, but makom hefsid, you have to be, you can be pickle, and it sounds like any hefsid. There's a whole shayla which has, and also b'makom mitzvah, like these things, makom tsar, makom chayli. Right? And what's the lumdis? So we explained the pshat is because be'etzim, and I saw this lashon in the Prima Gadim yesterday. The Prima Gadim says that be'etzim we paskin that Hashmas Kol is mutter, not like the Sfardim. The Sfardim hold it's aser, right? That's what comes out. It comes out murder. And now the minig of the Sfardim says now the Sfardim hold it's aser, the mamish, because you can't go against the minig. It comes out murder gazach. The Ashkenazim have more of a kula than the Sfardim. Interesting, no? No, you'll see where it's a mamish and afkamina. If I could do this, it's like a magic trick, a shtickle. No, it's amazing. You never would have believed this, no? Unbelievable. But this was, the grand finale of these shurim until we get to bonus. I wanted to leave you with a taste in your mouth. I'm only looking at him because he's a smarty. What? It could be. It means like, now that we see, it's not the regular gedarim of hefsid, of losing money and whatever. It seems to be, it's like the lashon of the Prima Gadim is that we paskin, like the ikar poiskim, listen to his lashon, that hold its mutter. That's what he says. He says we paskin it's mutter. That's what he writes. Just for shteitzach, we're machmir on this halacha, and therefore we're only machmir. Kamet doesn't, inconvenience life incredibly. Hefsid, soyrech, chayli, this, that, tsar, etc. Sorry. I'm going to get cases with the washing machines and this. That's what I'm going to talk about now. But wait, so it's mamish. No, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to answer a kasha. Because in the Aruch HaShulchan, he writes like this. In the Aruch HaShulchan, he writes, you should know, Roiv Poiskim say it's mutter. Roiv Poiskim says, so I saw there's a sefer, it's called the Hilchos Shabbos b'Shabbos. He says, the Aruch HaShulchan made a toyas. That's what he writes. He writes the Aruch HaShulchan made a tais. How could the Aruch HaShulchan say that Rav Poskim say that Hashmaz called us mutter? How may Rav Poskim say it's us? And he brings down all the different Rishonim and even Svarim that nobody has and everything, And he writes that Rav Poskim and Rishonim hold that of course it's usher. That's what he writes. He asks this question in the Aruch HaShulchan. And then he writes like this. He writes, so Mamela, it's not true. It's we paskin avada that it's usher. I think the answer to the Aruch HaShulchan is the Prima Gadim. Avada the Aruch HaShulchan knows that all these poskim hold that it's, but what did they say? They said like the Prima Gadim. The Prima Gadim says that we paskin mutter. So all of those poskim that you're going to see that say usher, they don't mean usher, that may ikra din, it's usher. What they mean is like we're saying now, they mean we paskin, it's mutter ashmaz kol. Don't do ashmaz kol. What's the nafkamina if I say that this nusach, I'm not going to let you do it either way. The nafkamina is I'm going to let you do it better. If I say we paskin muksa is aser, but let's say it's like really annoying. Too bad. What if we paskin like chicken and milk is aser. It's aser drabanan. Rav Yossi Galili ate chicken and milk, right? But we paskin it's aser. What would happen if there was a really, really bad matzah if he was mamish starving? He hasn't eaten in like 25 hours. He's starving, and the only thing there is chicken and milk. He's even afraid he's going to get sick, not die or whatever. Not because he's afraid he's going to get sick. What are you, normal? You can't eat chicken and milk? What are you, crazy, man? No, but I'm really hungry. I'm suffering. I'm suffering. Smacking. What are you talking? It's chicken and milk. That's an Issur D'Rabbanan. Mashengen over here, it's not the same thing. That's what the Prima Gadim is saying. Saying the Prima Gadim, we paskin like the sheet is that all that Hashmaz Koil is mutter. It's mutter. So therefore, don't do it. But therefore, because you have to be machmir like this. But therefore, if it'll be a big tzayrech, hefsid, this, that, whatever, mitzvah, chayli, things like that. So then we're going to go back to the Ikra Shita. That's all the Aruch HaShulchan means. The Aruch HaShulchan means that the right poskim say it's mutter. Are you seeing in all these poskim that saying it's aser? They're saying this. They're not saying anything different than the Prima Gadim. That's miyashav hakoil. It's a very big if you cite this, Rabbi say. What? Sorry? I can't hear you. Could be. Nothing I said is against the Aruch HaShulchan. It's exactly the opposite. Okay, the Aruch HaShulchan says mamish, even better. Okay, no, it's very negaya. But no, I'll explain to you why it's negaya. So I saw like this. I saw that in that sefer of Shmuel Kamenetsky, they bring from him. I don't think he wrote it, right? It's somebody else. What? But it's his stuff. So they bring down there. Shmuel Kamenetsky said, at first I thought he was saying what I said, and then I realized he's saying a much bigger heter than what we said. He says that you could be makel on a shmaz koil during ben hashmashis. So I thought, okay, that's what we said yesterday, right? That's what he said. Then I realized he's not saying what I said. I was saying that hashmaz koil has the regular rules of ben hashmashis. Anytime you have an Issur D'Rabbanan during Ben Hashmashis, and there's a Tzarech Shabbos or a big Tzayrech or something like that, so then there's a heter as long as you weren't Makabel Shabbos. He sounds like over there that he doesn't differentiate if you were Makabel Shabbos or not Makabel Shabbos. He's saying a big chiddush. The truth is, it's a riesig chiddush, and without this akdama, you can't understand it, and even with this akdama, it's a little bit of a chiddush. But the idea, he says over there, Ben Hashmashis, Hashmaz Koil, you don't have to be machmir on. He said the whole Hashmaz Koil is a ganze chumrah and whatever, and Ben Hashmashis is already not such a pasha at the time of Shabbos and whatever. So he says over there that you don't have to be so machmir. The obvious nafkamina is that all those cases we talked about that the item is going into the dishwasher and the washing machine and all these things going into Ben Hashmashis. I was saying yesterday, which I still believe, because I still think he's saying a chumrah, a kula, too much of a kula. But because once you're Makabel Shabbos, that's Shabbos. Okay. But he would be saying that once you're Makabel Shabbos, you could still do it throughout Ben Hashmashis. That's a very big kula, right? But at least what we were saying yesterday is that Akami wasn't Makabel Shabbos, so long as, I don't mean Avada, like I said, he's Avada not doing Malacha, but as long as the Tzibur wasn't Makabel Shabbos, that's like 15 minutes after Shkia until they get to Ms. Moshe or something like that. So then you can rest assured that you're allowed, if you need it for Shabbos, for sure you're allowed to go and do it. He's saying even more. Without this akdama, you can't understand what he's saying. I still don't know if you should be making like that, but that's that. That's number two. Sorry? The shaila of the lamkak is not the winding. That might be a bigger problem. That's the hashmaz called shinam ches. That's something else. That's the shinam ches hashmaz called. That's causing a hashmaz called. That's the nisser. Now, basically, another thing. So I found a sefer that says, like I said. What did I say? I said, I don't understand why Hashmaz Kol should be outside the room. it should be outside the house when people are walking down the street and they hear the taich and the grinder. So then it's going to cause the lashon hara and the zilzal and the this. But outside a room, it's like it's a big chiddush. What's a lumdus of a room in the one room and there's a door in between? What's it done? You're in the same house, so figure it out. I mean, he'll figure it out. It shouldn't be like this marasai and zilzal and this and that. That's what I said. I said before, and then I see that the Ber Moshe, the Debetziner, in Zion Mem Vav, he says this. He said the only time he thinks it's a problem is outside the house. He has over there a Kuntris electric. It's a lot of simanim on electricity and all these things. Over there in Simon Mem Vav, he says that it's only if it's hearing these things outside the house, right? Maisa, who says not like that? Who says not like that? Ramosha, right? Maisa, yesterday we said a raya brewer to Ramosha, right? What was the raya? Not like we said. What was the raya? Grandfather God. Who said it? Who said? Somebody said it in the middle of the shir. No, it wasn't me. Somebody said it and I said he's right. Who was it? Nobody wants to take credit. What? Isn't that side over there? Well, it was you? Oh, okay. So Maisi was Mekavan to Ramosha. In that tshuva, Ramosha doesn't just say it's tam, right? Ramosha writes a good thing, like, maybe before I give shir, I should read the tshuva. But Ramosha Taka says, how do I know that it's usher in a different room? Ramosha doesn't say stam misvar. How do I know if you hear it from already a different room, even though it's not outside the house? Now, even though it's not outside the house, how do I know that's usher? Ramosha says, well, the raya is from the grandfather clock. He said the grandfather clock you can't hear dafka outside, but you certainly hear it in the next room. And afalpikin it's usher. He says, why? Why is it usher? Elamai, you see from here the fact that it's heard outside a room, that's already enough. Ramosha Kimat says, if you say another word, I'll usher it in the room also. Right? Sorry? He doesn't say misvar. Ramosha doesn't say misvar. He says, right. I don't know how you can answer that raya. There's no way to answer that raya. It's a raya brewer. Shem love tshuva. Done. That's it. That's a raya brewer. That's a raya brewer. That's it. Him also. Okay. Even though the Ramban in Milchames, he says in his Akdama, he says there's no such thing as a raya brewer today. It's always, but that'll be an example that there is. Like that. I don't know. What? I'm sorry? No, also, Derek Agav. Now you see, what? Sorry? Was that? The Paiskim don't differentiate these things. No, you don't find that. The Maram had 24 rooms in his house. It says in Hilchos Mezuzah, Reish Pei Vav. Sounds like he had like one of these huge mansion in back Lawrence. We have Mamish, Mamish is Seagate, sorry. But he had, one of these big houses, but 24 rooms the Maram had. What do you mean? He had a big house, right? But anyways, no, but Agav, you see from over here also, you see what's the marasayim? What's the marasayim? Let the guy just go in from one room into the other room and find out what's going on over there. Let him come in there and start screaming, and then he'll see that nobody did anything, right? You see, that's what I was trying to tell you. The zilzal over here is Chazal don't want this. It's not just marasayim. They don't want this. They don't want these noises, and they don't want this unless it's something that the noise, excuse my language, like it's a Shabbos-tic noise. It's like so upgaret. This is a noise, a regular noise on Shabbos, right? Like his grandfather clock, it's a noise on Shabbos. It's nothing that takes away from Shabbos. That's it. Okay. We spoke yesterday about the sprinkler system. So I decided to turn it on because people started telling me that you don't hear it. You don't hear the sprinkler system, right? Yeah, yes, you do. Yes, you do. What? What? But what's the difference, even if it's a different room? So my neighbor can hear it in his house. Why not? Right? Why not? Oh, not all sprinkles are created equal. If talking your sprinkle you can't hear, then it's tight, right? It might be broken. Okay, I'm saying, but if it's, no problem. Wait, but no, it's an interesting thing. The Maisa Tachlis, I spoke yesterday. I said that, you have to know what's the norm. Is it the norm to set sprinklers before Shabbos? Is it not the norm? And it'll be telling you that Shiloh, right? I said, whatever I said yesterday, it's not so clear to me if it's the norm to set it before Shabbos. I said, I think in the summertime in Eretz Yisrael, it is definitely the norm. It seems like in America, it's always the norm to set it up beforehand and to never be involved. The only question I said was maybe in Eretz Yisrael during the winter. It's very interesting. L'maisa, in the end of the day, what's the case that we're talking about then? We're talking about like in the winter, that somebody on Erev Shabbos is going to get up and say to himself, you know what? Because again, in the summer, I'm telling you it's mutter because it's just it's on a timer. That's the norm. And in America, it seems to be it's mutter because it's on a timer, right? So what's going to be the case that I'm going to aser in the winter in Eretz Yisrael? When the guy decides on Erev Shabbos, he realizes the taka hasn't rained in a while, and he starts to turn on the sprinkler and whatever, Erev Shabbos. In that case, it might be a hefset anyways. And the whole issue of a Shmaz Koil is we're only machmer, it's not a hefsid, right? So the Sephardim might have to be machmer. I don't know. It could be the Sephardim don't have these Eterim because they just have a minig. I don't know. But the Ashkenazim, I'm smiling, right? But the Ashkenazim, they might have a heter. The Ashkenazim might have this heter. I don't know. Like that. I find that interesting. But that's the chayr, because it'll be a hefsid. It'll be mutter. Why is the guy turning on a sprinkler on Erev Shabbos, right? It must be because he feels that there might be some hefsid. Another thing is like this. I spoke about this alarm clock with music. And I think I made a mistake. I don't know. I keep going back and forth. But I think this is the final. I think you should not have an alarm clock with music on it. Yesterday we said that we don't see a problem. And now I don't like it. I'll explain what my problem is, right? Is the alarm clock with, that it's going to go off to a tune, right? So what would be the problem? So I realized I thought that has to be a problem. Again, assuming you hear it in a different room or something, let's assume it's a Shmaz Kol and you hear it in a different room, right? Okay, so we have first for Moshe. There, Moshe says all alarm clocks are a problem. Okay, hard to understand that. It's hard to understand that. It's at least the Malka mitzvah of davening and things like that and whatever. Okay, so that's a little bit difficult. I don't know. Malka mitzvah, l'chayra. Moshe Aser is even an alarm clock with a regular ring, right? Okay, but let's try and think a minute. Let's try and figure this out a second, right? Well, what's the problem here? Is that people are going to be chayshid me. That what? What are they going to be chayshid me when they hear music in the morning? Chazal don't differentiate and start saying, oh, they're going to assume it's an alarm clock. A person's going to hear, the lumdis we're looking for is the zilzil shabbat. What's the zilzil? It's true, they'll have an answer immediately. That's where we have to realize. Immediately they're going to say, it must be an alarm clock. But that we saw is not enough. What happens when a person hears music in my room? Right? What happens the second he hears music in my room? The second he hears music in my room, so Tachlis, what's he hearing? He thinks a kid, they're turning on. Right away he says, no. Like we said, he answers me out. But it's not a normal sound that you're supposed to be hearing on Shabbos. Normal music on Shabbos means someone turned it on. Elamai, or on a Tuesday, when a person hears music right away, Elamai, right away, he's going to have an answer. What's the Mashen Kane? What happens when I hear a ring? Anytime I hear a ring, what's the first thought in my, not answering God, what's the first thought when I hear a ring ever? It's someone's calling him. Nothing to do with him. Or an alarm is going off. Nothing to do with him. Music is not like that. When you hear music, the first thought of music is someone turned on music. The second thought is, no, it's not. That's what's going on here, l'chayra. If that's the case, so then I was thinking, so then what's my alternative? I could turn on my alarm with music and be soymech on a Shmaz Koil b'malka mitzvah. It's true. I can't say it's mamish aser, right? But why should I do that? Why shouldn't I do something which is not Hashmaz Koil b'chlal? Right? It is a heter, right? It's a heter. The way we're saying it today is that Hashmaz Koil, you don't have to be machmir on at kama there's a tzarech mitzvah, at kama there's a hefsid, at kama there's a this. So you don't have to be machmir. But why would I do that? Why won't I just do something which is not? In other words, I'm agreeing that music is Hashmaz Koil because my first thought and reaction when I hear music is someone turned on music. Then my second thought is it's an alarm. That's already a problem. That's zilzal. When you hear music on Shabbos is a problem. When I hear a ring, there's no thought. The first thought is it's an alarm, or the first thought is someone's calling. That is what it is. There's no such thing as a person pressing an alarm and turning. It's not the norm. There's no such thing. So why would I turn a ringer with music when I could turn on a ringer that has no a ringtone that has no shayla at all? I think it's bar. I think it's bar. I think it's bar. It's bar. The bar that you have to do this to make a regular ring. Dayenu Ramoshu is machmer on the ganze Sach, right? Plus, don't forget, the Aruch HaShulchan is not happy. Right? The Aruch HaShulchan doesn't like music going. Okay, so I said you don't have to be machmer in that Aruch HaShulchan, but for say there is probably some level of a zilzal Shabbos on this. So b'zay l'daiti, no music on Shabbos. It's no good. Okay, you can handle this or no? Right? Yeah, you can handle it. No good. Okay, that's number 4. Number 5. So this coffee machine. Yesterday after the shir, I see he didn't even show up because he's scared, Abi, right? Yeah, I see. Okay, there he is. He's on TV. That's okay. It's okay. So this coffee machine, we spoke about this in a few zmanim already. We spoke about this. Well, Bishul spoke about it a few times, this coffee machine. What? Where else did we talk about? Tfilas Kalim. Yeah, Tfilas Kalim. We talked about her. Okay. So the shaila that's over here was that maybe we'll make the coffee on Erev Shabbos. We'll put on a timer that you'll have freshly brewed coffee on Shabbos. Right? How you can have freshly brewed? You put on a timer, and then Shabbos komentaka, and then right then you're going to have all of a sudden a freshly brewed coffee just in time for Shachris. Can you imagine what kind of a meridika nishmas you're going to have when you had or Mamish is a Haidul Hashem Kitayv, right? Bishefleinu zachar lanu yifrekeinu mitzareinu No? So who wouldn't want such a thing? It's before davening, and you're not supposed to have a coffee of gaiva and whatever. This is like not gaiva. This is pikuach nefesh. This is like this is what's the word I'm looking for? Avodas Hashem. This is Avodas Hashem. No, so you're allowed to do it. So we dan mitzat shehiyah. And when it came to the shayla of shehiyah, so there was a tzad maybe to be makel, because there's nothing you could do to change the setting. Maybe we'll see. That's not posh. But maybe it's just the same fire, so there's no problem. Meaning the whole problem of shehiyah. The problem of chazar, if I'm doing a ma'isa, I'm not doing a ma'isa. Elamai, what's the problem of shehiyah? I'm going to come to monkey with the fire. There's no monkeying with no fire. There's no monkey. There's no fire, and I'll segit, right? So the truth is, we back then when we spoke, I saw Rabbi Lieberman in your notes today, what we said. We said that you could change the settings. You could change the settings, and that perhaps that could be a problem, because if you change, so there is something you can monkey with. So there is a Shem Yechat there. We have that problem, right? So your brother-in-law, he called me today, and he told me, this is very important to him, as you know, and he told me that no, the setting doesn't change exactly in the heat of the water, right? But then I asked, but it changes in the stream and the strength of the water coming out, which is going to be goyer in the bean to cook faster. So that he was moider, which is epic, and it seems to be it's a problem anyways. But yesterday it was Nizgala by Rabbi Rosenberg, who was afraid to come in there, didn't know what would happen. But it was Nizgala that it makes a quite nice noise. No, you have it over there in the background. It seems to make a very big noise and a loud noise or something like that. And everybody could hear it in a different room. And the norm of a coffee machine is definitely not to put on a Shabbos clock up as a Shabbos Zager for like 20 hours from now. It's not the norm. The norm is you just plug it in. So therefore we have a new problem now with Shmaz Koil. Elamai, it's not a Shmaz Koil. We could have said maybe, Makim Hefsid, Mitzvah, Chayli, or, he's Chayla Sahava on the coffee. But it doesn't seem to be that this is permitted on Shabbos. It doesn't seem to be it's permitted on Shabbos. What? Sorry? Covering won't be enough. You need blech. You have to put a blech. Chazal there's no blech in such a thing. I don't think I think it'll, if you put a silver foil in there, it might like explode. I don't know if you can put silver foil on everything. You can't just put silver foil. You put silver foil in the microwave, the whole world will explode. What? But anyways, you have a Shmaz Kol, Rabbi Spiro. You have a Shmaz Kol problem. I don't know. It might be an Avera according to some religions. You know what I mean? I don't know. What? It's a normal thing for a person to turn it on for tomorrow or whatever. Really? It's normal to do for tomorrow? It doesn't matter. It's definitely not the only way. We said here, it's not enough that sometimes. That was what we brought from grandfather clock. So I don't like it. No, the nafkamina is like this. Just one moment. Nafkamina is that somebody else asked me, they have these bread making machines, and he said we spoke about it during what's it called? During Shia also. So over there, it seems to me these things make mamish a noise. Apparently they mamish like the loudest things on earth. They sound like tractor trailers. So that's okay. So you have a well, and it's definitely not the norm to set timers and whatever. The normal thing, turn on a machine. But yeah, but again, it's not like the grandfather clock, which just goes and goes and goes and goes. Well, fine, the night before. Say that the night before, because I'm tight, right? What? Because you don't have challah for Shabbos. Yes, Elamai, Rabbi say, then Afkamina will be like Rabbi Sher is saying. Let's say, Rabbi say, I see this is like a big one over here. Wait, Rabbi say, 1 second. The Chassidish Oilam are upset with me because I called it bread. Ich habe gemeint challah. Nein, ich habe gemeint, the Yiddish bread. Ich habe gemeint. As challah is taka. So what if he doesn't have challah for Shabbos? That's where it's negeya. So for shteitzach, if it doesn't have, but then you have to get out of the shehiyah problem. And I think back then we had a major problem with the shehiyah. I think we're very upset about the shehiyah. Neither wouldn't bother us. It has to do with gomer b'de'adam and all that stuff. So that's okay. Now the Maisa, the last few cases here that we didn't talk about is the air conditioning. Are you allowed to turn on? It's not going to go over very well, right? Are you allowed to turn an air conditioning on Erev Shabbos? Are you allowed to turn an air conditioning on Erev Shabbos that you go on Shabbos? What's the Maisa, the Minig Oilam? Yeah, even the Sfardim. I asked the Sfardi, she doesn't know. I told him, Gama Mazgat, lo, right? So very interesting. Somebody was in the shul and he heard me talking about air conditioning and whatever. and he showed me in the shul, we have a sefer from Rav Nebenzel, the Rav of the old city, and he was listening into this conversation, and he showed me, they asked already Rav Nebenzel, and Rav Nebenzel said, it's mutter, there's no problem. So, okay, we'll see in a minute. There's a very big problem. That people hear the noise of the air conditioning, and it's something that people turn on the air conditioning. You could, in this room over here, Rabbi Siegel, you're the one that turned it on today. Who turned it on today, right? You turned it on. It wasn't on, right? So it's a normal thing to turn on an air conditioning, right? Well, it's also no. Again, I want to make this clear because I see the Olam keeps making this mistake. The halacha of Hashmas Koil, of Avshe Milsa, is not if I will say, it also happens. You see from Chazal that the only heter they had is if this is so norm that the only way you do it is not right before, and that you always do it. That was the case of the grandfather clock. There's no raya from all in Shas and Poskim, not like that. So therefore we find that the Poskim were machmis. So therefore it's not enough to tell everything in the world. I could say the grinding mill also, there was a metzias of this water grinding mill that people did the day before. Raya, that's what the Gemara is talking about, that they actually did it. So it's not enough. It's not enough. It has to be, we don't want noise. I a little bit along this. If you take a different limit, I'm also okay with it. But the halacha, just a moment. It doesn't matter what the limit, that's what you see. So the mice of the air conditioning is something, yesh liyesh. Some people turn it on and leave it on the timer and this, that. But zikr, there are some people that turn it on miyad. So he asked this question to Rav Nebenzel, whoever is the shayl. It's called Chuvas Rav Avigdor Alevi Nebenzel, right? It's in the shul. It's all chuvas that they asked him over there. So they asked him the shayl. So he said, it's mutter. He writes over there, mutter. So I look over there. Why does he say it's mutter? He said, because the air conditioning makes no noise. No. So wait, the Maisa, the person who asked, the Shayel asked, this Rav Nebenzel's mamish, tzaddik yisaydoilim, and whatever, he has an air conditioning. And he this is a yid that you could watch him on Shabbos morning walking to Vasikin, and it's like an experience to see him. It's mamish like, he walks from his apartment in the old city. He has with him a Gemara, right? And he walks through the old city, he walks to the Kaisel. Right? He walks and he's walking with the sefer, and he walks and he doesn't stop for 1 second. He's looking at the sefer the whole time. He turns pages, and if you look, you'll see that if he at the start of when he leaves the door, he'll be holding. This is what I saw once. He'll be holding a Baba Metzia, let's say Daf Yud Beis. That's what I saw once. And by the time he came back to his house, he makes like a kiddush in his house on Shabbos morning after Vasikin, right? By the time he gets back to his house, he's up to Baba Lamed Gimel, right? Let's see, how many blot are there from Yud Beis to Lamed Gimel? Who knows? 21, yeah, 21 blot, but he also had to daven, and he davens mamish with bechi and das mamish tzaddik. He's like real. It's not like fake. It's like the real thing, right? Davens and but when you learn all those blots, what are you talking about? There's a whole, you know how many steps there are from his apartment to the Kaisel and back? There could be almost mamish 700 or 800 steps, right? You know how much blots you could be learning at that time, right? And also between aliyahs, what are you talking? Between aliyahs, he must be at least 7-8 blots. Right? So now I ask you, is it possible that he knows that an air conditioning in the room, he hears the air conditioning, does this make noise? No. Now, what's the noise of the air conditioning? We know really, what's the noise of the air conditioning? Outside, it's like boom, you're walking past all of a sudden and it starts raining on you, and right? I don't know, maybe they didn't ask it properly. Our question is not, is there noise on this air? It's true, there's noise you cannot hear outside. God, in the olden days, remember the old air conditioning, you can hear them, the even inside ones, you can hear it down the block. Everyone has, their parents have one still, you know what I'm talking about. But anyways, but these things, Taka, they make no noise on the inside. Go outside. What's this one? God, I remember this one on the outside makes loud noise? Sure. What? For sure, when it starts, boom, it's like, yeah. What? So that's outside. That's definitely Hashmas Koil. That's the biggest Hashmas Koil in the world, right? I don't know. I don't like saying like, this Gadol didn't know the Metzias. I'm not into that. That's how everybody does today. But this one is Takar Pella, so I'm just answering which makes sense. What? No, but the Hashma's called everyone outside. No. Okay, outside it's borrowed to everybody because there you hear outside everywhere. The Chiddush is Rabbi say. So what's Lamaisa? What's Lamaisa with an air conditioning? So his Rebbe. Why his Rebbe? Sorry. It's true. It's true. But it's no different than a grinding mill. Why is that different than a grinding mill? Right? Why is it different? What? What's different than a grinding mill? I tell you one thing. Rabbi said, if I have to compare if I would have to compare air conditioning, we're trying to figure out, is an air conditioning You can zushtel into a grinding mill, which that Chazal said is also something that's going. Or can you zushtel it to the grandfather clock, which it's totally always on and always this. I don't know. It's very normal that a person will press it and turn it on that minute. It's the normalest thing in the world. It's half the time you hear it going on. Is that? So I don't know. I'll tell you. I looked around for the Shaila. So Reb Shlomo Zalman, that's his Rabbi, Grada. In Mincha Shleiman Beis Simin Chaf Dibra Maschel Gam, he says that these are the words. Now, everybody's like, let's try to don everybody and give everyone the proper cover, right? He says, everyone knows that you turn on an air conditioning a day in advance. Right? Could you get that clearness in here so that we don't have to come in here and it's hot? They turn it on a day in advance. Does everybody know that or not? If the answer is no, no one knows that. Nobody in this room seems to know that, right? So if you don't know that, then that's not a heter anymore. I don't know what was back then, but I don't know what to tell you. That's what he says, right? There was a Jew who told me that for Moshe and MTJ, he told them no air conditioning on Shabbos. Right? New York you were just there? No. What is it? It's hazy, hot, and humid there, John Mantone. No, what is it? It's a hazy, hot, and humid sometimes over there, no? Hazy, hot, and humid. So I don't understand Reb Moshe, and I don't understand Reb Shlomo Zalman. I don't understand Reb Shlomo Zalman because not everyone knows. I don't understand Reb Moshe because Manhattan could get pretty nasty. So why isn't it a shmas called b'makim hefsid and b'makim mitzvah and b'makim whatever? The Sfardim grada for shteitzach can't be makel because they're, whatever, fine. It's under shmuz. But what? What? Yeah, I don't know. Ramesh had some sheet there and a shmas kol. I don't know. If someone's going to ask me, why is it mutter to turn on an air conditioning on Shabbos? I'm going to tell them because it's mamish tsar to be without an air conditioning, and it's mamish, the people that need air conditioning. So what are you going to start telling me? No, because this week is those clever. You know what I'm talking about, the air conditioning. Does anybody know anybody here who's very into air conditioning? Maybe, right? Those guys in the middle of like February. 30 degrees below zero. They need an air conditioning. It's like the tsar shabbats, no? Could you imagine today if there wouldn't be an air conditioning in this room? Who remembers in the days in Slonim when it wasn't working, right? Oh my goodness, oh my God. Remember what was going on then, right? There was one day it was blowing heat. Remember? You remember? You don't remember? Who says I'm joking? You don't remember? Who remembers? Jaime, you remember? Yes, you remember? What? We had it everywhere. This koilel has gone through Gullus, nach Gullus, mit Gullus, and Gveinlach, Hashem Shizachinu. Remember, I would watch the faces. There would be Jungelite not dying, burying, right? It was unbelievable what was going on there, right? Could you imagine? Remember, right? What? You buried. You put on the heat. Yeah. Kids, I know, I'm saying it by saying. So imagine not having air conditioning. So it would be a tsar not. So yes, it is a shmas kol. I say I'm an emistic person. It's a shmas kol. I'm not afraid. It's a shmas kol, but it's tsar gadol, and you can be made shmas kol, tsar gadol. So, okay, so then Chanami. So it could be the answers for Moshe. Yeah. And then now everything's Miusha. Moshe wrote this 40 years ago. 40 years ago, air conditioning, who had a Hungarian bubby that remembers what I'm talking about, After air conditioning, what's it? As a heiss, right? Bobby Zadie already died, Just push it out the body. That's the body, because it shouldn't get all, sriach and everything. Oh, all right, shine. No, you don't understand what I'm talking about. So if it's like, doesn't the Haim, maybe Ramoshin, the Haim, air conditioning. Plus it doesn't air. You can take a piece of paper and go like this, right? Whatever. Ramoshin can't take paper. It's some kids. Okay, you got my point, right? Everything has to be a problem. Also, I don't know, sir. Rabbi saying that Rabbi Sher, they're telling me so. I said every Shabbos you're gonna have to figure out. So some people don't have this problem. For example, David, right? From now until Mashiach, right? You have that, right? Well, Rabbi Shor, it seems like there's a lot of chav here. Rabbi Milo, it seems like you're also an What? I don't know about you, it's a suffix, sorry. Some people, I don't know. But the people that are asking these questions, I have a shaila. Nobody else here has a shaila, okay? I have a shaila, right? You have a shaila also. I'm not such an air conditioning guy, right? Sorry? I don't think you're right. I just don't think you're right. I don't know. What? What? I'm just Efik, you're with me, right? I'm saying. These guys get their seats under the air conditioner. It goes over their head, right? And they complain it's cold the whole time. I don't know. This is what I would say. Let me get invited. Rabbi say, nafkamina. No, Rabbi say, nafkamina in the shuls, it's always mutter because that's a tzarich mitzvah, right? Nafkamina, if there's somebody who's, they're a cloud, you'll have a heter because it'll be a big tzarich and things like that. I'm just saying, I don't know if you have to come on to these terim of that everybody knows. That's a dryer. A dryer. That's one case we didn't talk about. Somebody told me we didn't talk about a dryer. What's the nice? Rabbi said. I clap. It's a lot of fun, but you got to give me a chance. But a dryer. Right? Are you allowed to on Erev Shabbos put the clothing in on and then the dryer is gonna go on into Okay, so if you go to Shmuel Kamenetsky, it gives you the whole Ben Hashmashis. Now again, if we're talking about using the clothing. A dryer is granted one of those chefses that a lot of times the light goes off, right? My dryer, I don't know. I think it's the light goes off, so there it's actually mamish a practical nafkamina. So you have a white shirt that a Shabbos shirt. And that everybody's white shirt, but you have a Shabbos shirt, and you realize it's not ready for Shabbos or whatever, and they quickly washed it Erev Shabbos. So now you want to just throw it in the dryer. No, it's not going to be neged because it's going to be all wrinkled. But no, so it's what's it called? It'll be the ones the wrinkle-free ones, right? So you're gonna throw it into the dryer. No, but in the dryer, with the wrinkle-free, the whole this is you have to hang it. No, okay. So you throw it. It's okay, fine. So undershirt. It's mamish tzarich Shabbos. It's gonna be gefährlich. They'll see who knows what over there. So they throw it. He throws it in on Erev Shabbos. So that's lefi this. Is it gonna be mutter? It's tzarich Shabbos. A guy needs a white shirt. And it's going to be making a rash. It's tzarich Shabbos. It's ben hashmashis. It's a dryer, makes a lot of noise, right? But it's a tzarich Shabbos. It's ben hashmashis. It's all these things. So all these things are taka. It'll be mutter. I don't know for the Svardim. I'm chayshish because I asked him today. What about mechonat yibush? Chalila. He told me halila. No, not gonna go. I don't know. But for the Ashkenazim. The makim, if you don't have a white shirt for Shabbos, you don't have a Shabbos shirt, so there'd be a makim to be makel. No, you have to know this. Ramesha, Rabbi say, Ramesha in the Igris Moshe in Hay, Ramesha in the Igris Moshe in Chelik Hay, Simcha Beis, he says it's aser. Again, Moshe has this thing. He's not getting involved in all of our kulas over here. He doesn't say it's mutter b'makam hefsid. The Ramah says it's makam hefsid. I don't know. I guess they asked for Moshe. They just want to know the ikra lacha. Are you allowed to be turning on a dryer Erev Shabbos and just let the stuff go and there's no reason? Of course it's also. We all the Shema Koil. We're machmer and Shema Koil. That's what they asked for Moshe. Now somebody comes to me and says to me, I just took all the stuff. I got this shiloh once. You get it once in a while. I'm saying, but I just remember the shiloh specifically that somebody told me just did a wash, right? It's a bachar yeshiva, and he told me he did the wash. And he said that it's going to be like a major afsid over here because it's all wet, right? All the stuff is soaking wet. And he wants to know, can just throw it in the dryer because otherwise the whole thing is just going to, it gets all moldy and mildewy and it'll be, he'll have to wash it again. So what did I tell him? Tell him, why can't you just hang it or whatever? Why can't you just hang it? Say, what? Again, saying it takes 5 minutes, the amount of time it takes to make this phone call. What? So he did what you guys are doing. What does he mean? No, what is it? I don't understand. Why not? What? I can't hear. It takes a long time. He doesn't have to hang it properly. He just has to hang it that it won't get mildew. No, so he told me he's definitely going to have to, if he does it like that, then he's going to have to wash it again. I understand why. What? You should know, I didn't want to be makel because it's in the yeshiva and I got nervous being makel with this kind of stuff going in yeshiva. By next week, these guys, fregnish, they forget it. They'll what? I'm sorry? No, I didn't like it. What? Yeah, Khalila, next week, who knows? Yeah? Let me see. Let's see. It's darker, big one. Shlomo Kluger. Huh? He didn't have a dryer. Brought Nishkeven kein dryer. Shinkuf. Who's Shinkuf? I don't think it's me. Who is it? As we said? Yes. Shmuel Kamenetsky. That doesn't. Wow. No, I don't know. Again, Rabbi said, it depends on the mitzvah. If somebody calls me and tells me, I'm telling you, listen, Kallus, I'm not asking you if it's hefset. Igzugayich, das is hefset. Now, do I have the heter? Okay, so fine. If you tell me to hefset, I don't know what the case is. But if you can find the case, it'll be. I don't see what the big deal is. Why I can just take those drying racks, just throw everything on, and it'll whatever. What? He's a bacher. Yes, I don't know. So he'll take a sifter from the noodles or something and do it. Like that. He's a bacher. What is? I don't know what deer you were in. That was the guy that was a yeshiva, but okay, here he's saying. Okay, okay, we get there. If it's a hefsid, it's his mutter. If it's not a hefsid, it's not mutter. Leave me alone. I don't know. If it's a hefsid, it's mutter. But I don't know. Then there's another shayla. This is a geshmak shayla. So this morning I caused quite a ruckus. So when everyone's listening to this conversation, so there was a fellow there who was walking out of shul, and he said to me, he's had a shayla for years, mamish years, it always bothers him. What's his shayla? His shayla is the generator makes the loudest noise. He said that's why he's machmer not to use the generator. Shake it. It's machmer not to use the generator. So it's right. I told him right away, what's the shaykhs? The generator is something that you only use for Shabbos. So the noise, that noise is a noise which right away, that's what I said, right? No, because that noise that you hear is a noise which you only hear on Shabbos that it was done. Again, our question is, what's does the muskel rishoy? What's the first impression? The second, one moment. No. This entire item, a coffee machine is something you use all week long. Okay, but it doesn't work like that. No, because this item as a chefza, there's no other generators. So he told me there are other generators, and I'm wrong. Rabbi said, it's geschmack. What sug is the oilam laws? But wait, no, he told me that it's not true what I'm saying. I told him the pshat is that the noise is a noise that you hear only on Shabbos. Memela, that noise is an Erev Shabbos noise. It's a noise that you know. That's what I told. He told me it's not true, that there's a lot of places that have generators. He told me like hospitals and whatever. What? The mirror has? Mirror? I'm sorry? Okay, but that's not the norm. I said it's very not the norm. Right? I don't know where you live, but it's not the norm. I don't know. So I looked it up. I see that they in Hilchos Shabbos b'Shabbos, that's Rav Karp, in the 38th parak in Ois Beis, they asked this question to the Chazon Ish. So the Chazon Ish said that the truth is, I don't understand the whole Shaila. It's a Makkah mitzvah anyways. So it's Shema is called the Makkah mitzvah, right? They hold that to not use electricity is disagreement and whatever. So it's at least a Makkah mitzvah. Everyone agrees it's a Makkah mitzvah. So the kinds of kasha fights with Nishtan. But the Chazon Ish said not like that, meaning he didn't want to say it's usher at all. What I'm saying is it's usher and that. He said that the noise of a generator screams Shabbos. Shabbos, that's what the noise screams. Okay, that's not exactly what I'm saying. Don't get confused. I was saying that it's a noise that the first reaction is that's something that's done just on Shabbos, for Shabbos, before Shabbos, right? He's saying not like that. He's saying, I don't know, maybe there's other ones and whatever. But the noise is what's the whole issue over here? Zilzul Shabbos. He's saying an interesting, love this. He's saying, what's the issue over here? Again, like I keep on saying, the Marasayin is you hear this noise and it's just not what Shabbos is supposed to sound like. He says that's what Shabbos is supposed to sound like. It's right away, it's not a zilzul of Shabbos. That's a bakavitik from Shabbos. This is the greatest covet of Shabbos. That's what he says. Akapanim, it seems you could be makel on a generator. Seems like you could be makel. Somebody asked me yesterday, a weird shaila. Who was it? You, Amram? With the vacuum cleaner as your alarm clock? Who was that? Somebody? What? Is it weird? Somebody had an idea to put on the vibrator. Okay. Somebody had a weird shaila that he wants to know, could he turn on the vacuum cleaner or go on, and that's his alarm clock? What? Listen, not everyone's normal. What are you making a face for? Should I tell him what you asked me once? So I think that's a problem, no? I think it's a problem, right? I think it's a problem because, okay, you might have the mitzvah, but we don't want, that's me l'chatchila, we don't want to be soinach on mitzvah, right? But this is a weird child. What? You can what? Yeah, no, he said this wakes him up though, because here's the vacuum cleaner going and it wakes him up. So listen, if the guy tells me it's either that or I don't get up, so then it's mutter, which I tell you, I don't know, it's a hashmaz kol b'makom mitzvah, I don't know. But that's, now, what about watching TV on Shabbos? What about, what do you say? What about listening to a radio on Shabbos? What about the davar zegam b'chol lesson, right? So it's very interesting. And this, I guess, is the end of this year, and then we'll start buying them Yetz Hashem now. But this is the last thing, and this I saved for the very end, right? So the Maisa, two nights, I've been saving this for this is the last thing of a Shmaz Kol. So 2 nights ago, I was in Har Nof, and I davened Ma'ariv by Rav Moshe Sternbach. I was giving a shir in Har Nof, so I went in, I was by Moshe Sternbach. So I asked him this question. I haven't seen him in a long time. I just wanted to know that I'm still from and everything. So I asked him, are you allowed to, I didn't want to say TV because, whatever. So I said to him, you're allowed to listen to the radio on Shabbos. So he said to me, what do you want from me? What do you want from me? So I said, I just want to know if you're allowed to listen to the radio on Shabbos, right? So he said to me, no, you can't. You can't dance. What? No, wait, slow. You davened that there shouldn't be one. Okay, 1 second. But so in the Igros Maisha, in Daled Pei Daled, he says that it's a problem. He says a Shmaz Kol. He says a Shmaz Kol because you have a machine going. That normal of that machine is not to be on at all times, right? So therefore, does it Shmaz Kol? Does it Shmaz Kol? Right? Obviously, it's not the normal thing that it's on all the time. So people be chayshid you turned it on. That's why it's a Shmaz Kol. Okay. But l'maisa lefi that was my next question. So I asked him, okay, obviously it's a Shmaz Kol. You can't have it on before Shabbos. So I asked him, no. So you put it on very low. Anyways, you don't really want the neighbors here. You put it on very low and whatever, right? So you put it on very low and then you listen to the radio and all types of other things on Shabbos. So what should be? So he told me like this. He told me, bring me my sefer. So over there, he has his Chuvas on Haggis. And we were looking for it. He has a tshuva on it. It turned out it was in Beis Kuf Pei Ches. The shaila over there was that there was a chayla that had he was really bored. He's really bored. So Moshe Sternbach writes him, why don't you just learn? Just learn. So no, he can't learn. It's all day and this, and he's not well, and he's going out of his meshuggah mind, and he's gonna start biting himself, and he's gonna be no good. So he wanted to know, can he listen to the radio on Shabbos? So Moshe Sternbach writes there 3 reasons. But again, I want you to hear it is not as just like Ashkafa. Listen, it's not the sugya what he writes, right? He doesn't write kimat there anything about a Shmaz Kol, because like we're saying, it's not a Shmaz Kol, it's not exactly, you could make it very low and other people won't hear and whatever. He writes something very interesting. He writes first of all, it's a pirza. If you start there, then why is listening to the radio? And it's obvious, the obvious Dusha Shabbos is just nished, right? But I just want to show you the Mardik Kazach, with the blick from the Gadol Batayra, how he looks at something differently than us. So I was just going to say, what could you do? And obviously, it's a pirza and matarnished, whatever. It's a pirza and you can't. And if we get this guy watching radio and this guy TV, and so who knows what's next and whatever, which is pashut to say, it can't be. It can't be. And then obviously, I'm obviously talking about Naki radio or whatever. I'm not talking about Goyish stuff. I'm talking about Kallus on 20 times, something like that. Says like this. Number 2, he writes like this. This I found very interesting. He writes that it's regular Marasayim. Now I asked Rabbi Moshe Sternbach, I asked at first, and this is when it started hitting me, this whole idea, right? I asked him, what does he mean, Marasayim? What do you mean, Marasayim mitzarar sugya, Shmaz Kol? He said something very, 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 very wichtig by saying, there's 2 sugyas here. This is what I was explaining to you today. That was the whole today's shir, basically. There's our sugya of Shmaz Kol, which is not Marasayim. It's not a Maris Ayin sugya that I'm going to come to think this is mutter on Shabbos. It's not Maris Ayin, I'm going to make a mistake. And it's not even chshad, that I'm going to be chayshid you're being Michal Shabbos. It's a 3rd sugya. It's Av Shemilsa, Zilzal Shabbos. It's a Kiknish Kit. This is not how Shabbos is supposed to look. It's just nish. It's loud. It's this. It doesn't. It's ruining it's like whatever you thought was just like some mashkafa from a mashkiach and thus it's real. Chazal don't want this zilzal of Shabbos. It's halacha. Okay, but what if I get out of that What if I get out of that because no one's going to know and this and that and whatever? Okay. And you know, and you can say Pirza and whatever. So you tell them, let's say the guy is let's say it's Rav Moshe Sternbuch himself. Okay? It's Rav Moshe Sternbuch himself. And he knows no one's going to find out and whatever. So then there's no Avshe Milson, there's no anything. So I said, yeah, but what about the old sugi? You always have to keep in mind, what about the old sugi of Maris Ayin? Now, in the old sugi of Maris Ayin, it has different gedarim than what we spoke about. In the old sugi of Maris Ayin, it's not enough for me that no one can hear. That's why it's the biggest raya that this sugi has nothing to do with Maris Ayin. Do you know that in the rules of Maris Ayin, you're not allowed to do something in the privacy of your room where no one's going to know? That's called chedrei chadarim. That's a klal in all of Shas. You're not allowed in the privacy of your own room when no one's looking to take mother's milk and to cook it with basar behema, even though no one's going to know and no one's going to see and I'm going to eat it right away because that's a Maris Ayin. Right? Okay, maybe it's only on the Maris Ayin of a D'Rabbanan, not of a D'Oraisa, not of a D'Rabbanan. But you're not allowed to do a Maris Ayin, even though no one's going to find out. B'tzina Chazal Aser, even doing it b'chedrei chadarim. That's what we call it, chedrei chadarim, even says the Shulchan Aruch. So he said, what happened to the regular Sugi Maris Ayin? What happens when a person turns on a radio? That's nobody in the world does it. No one does it. No one at all does it. So now it's Maris Ayin. When a person would see me listening to a radio, it's so abnormal. So you're right, there could be answers. I could have done it before. There could be a lot of answers. The thing that you're seeing over here, maybe it looks like milk. It doesn't work like that. There's Zichar Maris Ayin. It's something that looks like somebody just did it. What's the example of this? The Gemara says that there was a fellow walking with his cow and he's going to the shuk. So then he didn't even do anything yet. He's on the way to the shuk. But it's something that when people do, they're standing over here with the cow and it's got a bell and it goes all the way over there. We know what's going to happen. He's going to probably be selling it or whatever. You're not allowed to even be over here. You're doing things that look like you did this. Or Moshe talks about in his tshuva about a person walking into a treifa restaurant. And he says, it's not allowed. It's Maris Ayin, even though he's only going in for the toilet. Okay, so Moshe says if there's mamish, maybe some murdik tzarech or whatever, etc. Okay, it's not. My point is that don't think Maris Ayin is only like he's eating the thing. No, even walking in there, he didn't do anything yet. But the people that walk in there, they do Isser. A person that's listening to a radio on Shabbos, the 99.9 percentile of the people they're the bad guys, right? So it looks bad. It looks bad. So it's regular Maris Ayin. So he said it's a regular Isser of Maris Ayin. And so the Rabbi say, even Chedrei Chadarim is a Aser. Chedrei Chadarim is Aser. So that's the answer. Why can't you listen to a TV? Well, yes, you have to don in a lot of our cases. The answer is many of our cases now, they're the type of thing, I guess, this absolutely mitzad Maris Ayin we don't have. If I hear air conditioning for sure not, because Zichar, it's very, very normal and whatever, right? But let's say mitzad the dishwasher, the dryers and all those things, there's no Maris Ayin because it happened 2 minutes before Shabbos. I'll just right away realize that's a normal thing, that it could happen, that it continues, right? So there's no reason to believe it takes 30 minutes for a cycle, so it doesn't have even a Maris Ayin. But here, you hear a radio. What's the norm of this person that hears a radio any time? Somebody just turns on the radio. If you hear someone with a radio on Shabbos, what do you think? You think he's either a guy or chiloini, and that's it, right? So then what? My children don't turn radios on Shabbos, Rabbi Spyro. What? Rabbi Spyro, this is like the Jewish people. You know what I mean? Like, I know they're not mechayiv in Shabbos, right? But we don't have TVs and radios going in the house, right? So you know that you're going to have to deal with this. Like, what's going on? It's like, no, it's a mamish. What? I said there's 3? I must have lied. What? Okay, let's start Baina. What's Baina? What? No, you're going to take away Baina though. What? No, I don't have your third reason. It says what? Sorry? Okay, so everything did this before, then obviously somehow the chaylim got by. So then we're not going to say that that's something which is a necessity of the chaylim, whatever. Okay, so the idea right now, by saying, Zugayich, I'm not, I don't think most people are doing this anyways. It's just the Agdara of whatever. What? No. That's what I'm saying. We're now in a new sugya. That sugya was Hashmaz Koil, and Avshe Milsa. That sugya of Hashmaz Koil and Avshe Milsa is totally in this room and totally in the next room. Our sugya is not Maris Ayin. It's not Maris Ayin. Besides Maris Ayin, in the case of the alarm, there's no Maris Ayin. It's a new sugya. There's no Marasayim because people right away assume that he did it for, that he set an alarm clock. There's no Marasayim. You have to come onto this new sugya that when you hear noises on Shabbos, it's not the tzura of how Shabbos is supposed to look. That's the idea. No, it's very important. This is a very, very wichtige Klau. Adkan, Kafa Aleph, and now we start the next part of this month. That's it. Now we start Baina. The whole purpose of the first sugya was that, just to make sure everybody's back. That's it. Now you're all here. Now you're here. Now we start Baina. I must tell you, Baina is one of those malachas that many koilim start with. Because in Shabbos, the way it's set up is many koilim. They start with Baina. Tavkov Beis, and that's the sugya. It's like a whole new sugya. It's a new malacha. It's a very sadistic malacha also. It's Shabbos. The malachas of Shabbos, they start getting explained. Basically, there's a klal gadol and Daf Ayin Gimel, and in klal gadol it goes through the malachas, and then it's a lot of Haitzah stuff, and then Kuf Beis starts goes through Baina, then Kaisiv, then Seder, then that's how it goes, right? Then Koisher. Most of these we did already, but then that's how it goes. That's how it goes. Then it gets into Mechab and Muksa, all over the place. But the first malacha that a lot of Kailim do is Baina and Mistama because of its sadistic. It's very sadistic. There's a lot of svaras in Baina. A lot of svaras. Baina is where you see the Seichel HaTorah. It's mamish, not the Hagdaras and the svaras of what is considered a baina, what's not considered a baina. It's svarim that requires a tremendous amount of thought and it's geschmack. It's geschmack. So now, just another thing is that tomorrow is not like Ba'imer. I don't know if anybody had a havamina of not being here, but it's not like Ba'imer tomorrow. It's Leiv Ba'imer. It's the heart of the Oimer. Right? It's mamish the heart, right? And tomorrow we go weiter, we start Baina. I don't think anybody here. You have the whole Thursday night. If anybody plans on going to Meron to be mechazik the oilam there, whatever, because you're very needed there and whatever. But certainly there's no havamina by us. Reb Shimon is here in Yerushalayim Mir HaKodesh until what time to say there on Shkia, 7 or whatever. Then maybe you can go to Zamet to Reb Shimon to Meron. But over here in Yerushalayim Mir HaKodesh. Okay, whoever doesn't have a chavuz, I see some new faces. Come to me. I'm going upstairs today. Today I stay with the item. I'll stay here.